What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one, the only Ash Said It. AshSaidIt.com, AshSaidIt.com. Welcome to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. I appreciate you guys so very much. Thank you for your love and support. Over 1,500 episodes and 500,000 streams worldwide. None of this would be possible without you guys. So thank you so very much. And yes, we're still dealing with some COVID-19 stuff. You know, we're still quarantining a little bit, a little social distancing. But I have got an amazing interview today. We are going to be chatting with New York Times bestselling author of the Meg, the wonderfully talented Steve Alten. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Ash, I wish I had your energy.
We got to keep it ramped up, Steve. You know, I'm getting a little cabin fever here, so, you know, you got to find that, you know, whatever that little push is and just continue pushing through. I love it. So, Steve, what part of the country are you holding down right now?
I am in southeast Florida.
Ah, southeast Florida. What kind of temperature are you guys getting out there?
It's actually pretty nice today. It's about 80 degrees and breezy.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, Steve, so to start things off, I have a couple of questions for you. As far as when did you realize that you wanted to be a writer?
Probably back in college. I dabbled with changing majors from physical education to writing. I took my first English class. We were doing some short stories, and I was getting all A's, and that was encouraging. But then the next English class, I was getting all C's, and I met my first critic, and I said, "To hell with this! I'll just continue my march forward to be involved in athletics."
Gotcha. So what in particular pulled you back into being a writer, being an author?
Well, when I was 35, I had was struggling to support a family of 5, despite having a master's and doctorate degree in education. And but as chance would have it, I got delivered in my mail a Time magazine, and on the front cover was an anglerfish. And this was back in August of 1995.
Right.
And I read the article, and it was about the fact that we now had an Alten submersible that could go down and see what was at the bottom of the ocean, which we used to believe no life could exist there because there was no sunlight. And then, lo and behold, they built the Alten, went down in 1977, and they discovered abundance of life, all tied into chemicals, which they called chemosynthesis. And they had these hydrothermal vents that were spewing 700-degree Fahrenheit water into the bottom of the ocean, and the article also talked about the deepest part of the ocean, the Mariana Trench, which is located in the Northwest Pacific, 7 miles down, 1,500 miles long, 40 miles wide, and it's totally unexplored. And I read that, and I thought, you know, what was the shark that I read about when I was younger, when I was into Jaws and Great White Shark Attacks? There was always a little blurb about it. So I went to the library because we had no internet then, and found the picture of 6 scientists sitting in a Smithsonian jaw. And I thought, you know, this would make a great story. So I set my goal to become a published author, and because I had a job at JOB just over broke, that I was working at the time selling these water treatment systems door to door. It was a miserable way to make a living.
Yeah.
I had to work on the book from 10 o'clock at night till 3 in the morning and on weekends.
Wow.
And that's what I did. And when I finished, I had no idea how to get published, but I had this 400-page manuscript sitting on my desk. And so I got a book out on how to get published. And it basically said you have to need representation, that you need a literary agent. So I said about how to do that. I sent out 2-page query letters to every agent in the book that handled fiction. And probably sent out 70 letters and heard back from about half of them that weren't interested.
Right.
And the other half I never heard back from. But one guy was interested. And he was out in Los Angeles, thought it would make a great movie and a book. But he said it needs a lot of editing, so he was willing to work on it and edit with me, but he had to charge me for it. about $6,000, and I have $600 in the bank. But I had a car that my dad had bought me when I was 17, a Chevy Malibu convertible. Mm-hmm. Fixed it up and sold it and got most of the money, and we worked on it together and got the deal done.
Wow. And now the Meg is just, it's prolific, and it has continued to just soar the charts and just touch so many people, and just be just one of the great books. So the inspiration, what was the inspiration behind the sequel, the Meg 2?
Well, Meg 1 had done, we had, sort of continuing that last story, I said, we edited the book together, and then Ken, actually, my agent, he had a producer he was working with that had a first deal at Disney's Pictures, Hollywood Pictures. So we actually had a movie deal before we had a book deal. Wow. And then on Friday the 13th in 1996, I went to work. I was working at the time at a wholesale meat company as their general manager, which is a story into itself. But I went to work, and they had let me go. They said, we don't need it anymore.
Wow.
And so I went home. I had $40 in the bank in this job, and my wife was crying. And I said, don't worry, honey. This is the best thing that could have happened. Now I can work on my second book.
Right.
And she about threw a frying pan at my head.
Yeah.
And but 4 days later, Ken took the Meg book out to the 6 biggest publishing houses, and buoyed by the fact that we had that first look deal with Disney's Hollywood Pictures, closed a 2-book deal for 7 figures.
Wow.
And things have been a roller coaster ever since.
Absolutely.
So, to answer your question about Meg 2, Meg was the first book I wrote. The second book, which was part of that deal, was actually a Mayan calendar doomsday prophecy story. And that went through some strange happenings. My editor only wanted an underwater book, and I said, well, this is about the Mayan doomsday. So he said, yeah, but we're trying to shape your career like Benchley. And I said, well, that's great, but I want to write about other things that are underwater. But there was a lot of money at stake, so I gave them what they wanted. And 2 weeks before I was supposed to be paid a lot of money, they stopped answering my phone calls. And found out that they were being taken over by a larger company, that the outgoing president of the company was trying to save her job, and so she was canceling all the front-loaded contracts. And so even though Meg was a New York Times bestseller and they were printing 800,000 copies in paperback, a couple months later, they canceled my publishing deal.
Dang.
So that's why I say it's been a crazy career, ups and downs.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Wow.
So my second book was actually, that got published, was actually The Trench, which is Meg 2. And that's the one they're going to be going to production soon.
Okay, it sounds like there's a lot of good stuff on the horizon for you guys, and everything that's coming to be. So definitely looking forward to Meg 2. Looking forward to that now. Steve, I did go and visit the Sea Monster Cove. OMG. Okay. So I went to the Sea Monster Cove, and it was absolutely incredible. The attention to detail, I had ballpark, just so many questions about everything. But where did the inspiration come to make this this virtual theme park?
Well, back in December, I woke up about 4 in the morning. I was had a lot of things going on, some financial situations, medical challenges with Parkinson's. But I woke up one morning and was very clear-minded, and as I laid in bed, this idea popped in my head out of God knows where. And I realized it was for a brand new universe of a sea monster and prehistoric sharks. But it wasn't a book. It was a TV series. And so I went up to my office because I was afraid I was going to forget it. And I spent the next 5 hours doing research. And I found an island that I had never heard of before that I knew the story would take place on. It would be perfect. And it's called Maug, M-A-U-G, and it sort of sounds like Meg, so that's what brought me to it. And on this island, it's a volcanic island like all the islands of the Marianas are. But 5 million years ago, this island erupted, this volcano erupted, and it was so violent of an eruption that it blew the island apart and left behind only 3 islets, which are sort of shaped like a circle, like the rim of the volcano. Mm-hmm. And in the middle is a lagoon, which used to be the magma chamber. And so the story involves a French marine biologist named Dr. Maxime Rostand. And he goes to the lagoon to do some work, some climate change studies. Mm-hmm. And he realizes that hot hydrothermal vent water is rising out of the lagoon. And this is all true, by the way.
Right.
So while he and his two partners, his 2 colleagues, are doing some sample work, a fishing trawler comes into the lagoon, and it's sort of listing to one side because it's hauling in its trawl net some kind of creature. And they thought it was a whale at first, but then the captain of the boat tells them that it's a basking shark. But basking sharks aren't 60 feet long. So the basking shark is pregnant, and it dies in the net. And Max says, Dr. Rostand says, you got to cut this thing loose. They cut the carcass loose, and he does an emergency C-section and frees all the pups.
Oh, wow.
Well, only a few of them survive out of the 15. An albino pup, which they eventually named Snowflake, and a dark pup, which they named Layla. And they realize that these pups are able to live in the lagoon water, which is this heavy, warm mineral water, but not in the Pacific water, which is colder. And which means that their habitat, wherever they came from, wherever their mother came from, has to be equal to what's coming out of the lagoon, which means they're connected. And that leads to the discovery of a prehistoric aquifer located 2 miles beneath the seafloor, which dates back 381 million years to the Devonian age. And it's filled with these sea monsters that have survived because of this water supply. And so that was the gist of the story. So getting back to the website, this viral website where you can actually visit this place. My goal was to not only write a TV series, but to create something that I could go to every day and see these amazing sea creatures in a natural habitat that was an aquarium, and create something that had never been done before. Sort of a multimedia concept of entertainment that takes an adventure story and brings it to life by combining virtual reality, a web TV series, an interactive video game, and distant learning program. So that's what we've done.
Yes, you absolutely have done that. It's absolutely incredible, and I know that the more that it gets out there, and the more people that we can, let them know about it, it's crazy. I love it. So
the site is actually www.seamonstercove.com.
Yes.
And for the price of about a cup of coffee at Starbucks, the entire family can get a monthly membership.
Yeah. Kids will love this stuff, as soon as they're able to, pick into that stuff too. And also, Meg 2, when is that going to be available?
I'm sorry, the TV series?
Yeah, when is the TV series going to be available?
Well, we filmed the first episode, which was not easy to do with, the world shut down from COVID-19.
Yeah.
And so it's in post-production now. Okay. We're also going to take it out to some places like Netflix and a couple other networks to see if there's any interest in them funding it so we can make it even better. But we've got amazing animators, and they work. Everything's movie grade, highest quality. And so we expect the first episode to be out probably in a couple months.
Okay. All right.
and maybe faster after that.
Yes. And see, where can people go to get more information and to, stay up on what you guys are doing next?
SeaMonsterCove.com is the place to get it. We have updates there and news bulletins and all different features that are being prepared.
All right. Sounds like a deal. Thank you guys for all of your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face. You tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. Yes, we're doing this for the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.